night over the Cleveland Guardians for their second sweep of the season. We play the Cubs tomorrow, starting at 11:20. Randy Vasquez will be making his second start for the Padres, with Shoto Amanga going for the Cubs. And the Lakers tipping off at 7 o'clock tonight, playing the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers are currently up 3-0 on the season series, but are only 2 games up on the Warriors. And per Ian Rappaport, right now, the Raiders have extended Geno Smith, got a 2-year deal after the trade from the Seahawks. When you hear that small blizzard treat, it's just 85 cents in the DQ app. You might just feel like you're dreaming. You're not. Hurry to DQ and get your small blizzard treat for just 85 cents with a $1 purchase when you sign up for DQ Rewards. Participation may vary. Terms apply.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday, aka Friday Eve. Welcome in. This is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. It was another 2-hit game for Fernando. Luis Arraez had a couple hits, a couple runs. Manny Machado, a couple hits. Jackson Merrill with the big fly on the day that he signed his contract. And the San Diego Padres win 5-2 over the Cleveland Guardians, making the Padres 7-0 on the year so far. 2 sweeps under their belts on the season. Day off today, heading to Chicago. They're in the Windy City, following Jason Hayward around. I do believe that that's the latest out of Chicago. But the Padres will be back tomorrow. And I think the biggest question right now is who loses first, the Padres or the Dodgers? We will get into it as the show unfolds today. Huge day. Couple guests. Big Rich Ornberger, literally huge. He's a huge human being. Is going to be jumping on the air with us at 12:30 in studio. And then coming up at 1:30, Alan Sliwa, because the Lakers, Sammy's Lakers, have a pretty big game tonight against the Golden State Warriors. When you're looking at the Western Conference of the NBA, it's about as tight can get. And these are 2 teams that we kind of picture as teams making potential playoff pushes once they get in, if they get in, and where they get in as seeded. Big game tonight in the NBA. Sammy, you nervous yet? Your armpit's a little sweaty?
I'm excited. I can't wait. I think the Lakers are going to get this one tonight.
This is about as good as it gets for regular season basketball. Is everyone playing? First of all, Steph Curry.
Everyone's played. This is the first time. This matchup's going to be so fun tonight. It's the first time the Warriors and Lakers have played with Luka as a Laker and Jimmy Butler as a Warrior. So this one's going to be really fun. The Lakers have kind of dominated the season series the last few years. They're actually up 3-0 on the year. But again, these teams look so different. So the Lakers' size in the past with Anthony Davis has really caused them problems. Anthony Davis isn't there, but the Lakers guard play is much better. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out tonight.
Should be a fun one later on tonight. Lakers, Warriors, you'll hear that game right here on 760. Alan Slee was going to be talking about it with us at 1:30. Thank you for everybody who's jumped on the streams, either on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760 or over on X at Fletch and Sammy on X. You can follow us there, stream us there every single day. Sammy's hair is looking immaculate today. Got it done before the show. You're looking good, pal.
I appreciate that. I didn't actually do it this morning. I just let a little of the workout juices seep in.
You got the Tom DeLonge thing going on right now. I like it.
I'd love to be Tom DeLonge.
You could be a stand-in singer for Blink-182.
Yeah, they actually went to my high school.
Did they really?
I believe they got kicked out of my high school, Rancho Bernardo High.
That's cool, man. That's the only way to become a true rock star.
Yeah, I mean, you can't finish high school and be a rock star. Come on now.
Not like the rest of us nerds. All right, we'll get into the Padres game from yesterday. Like, seriously, when we got off the air yesterday, Sammy, around 1:55-ish, Jackson Merrill had struck out, and we were like, contract is a failure. Jackson Merrill never live up to those numbers. And then his next at bat, he smacks a home run in the 3rd inning. Like, that kid is cool, man. On the day you sign a contract, get up to $3 million.
Second player to ever do that, to sign a contract worth over $100 million to hit a home run on the day that they signed it.
Who was the first?
I don't know. I was watching SportsCenter and I was like, that's a pretty cool stat.
That is a cool stat. I'm curious who the first is. Maybe the text line can help us out. 70470. Start your message with team. We'll keep it open all day. Every single day at the beginning of the show, we'd like to open this thing up by going around the world of sports and hitting the biggest 3 stories of the day. We call it the Big 3. Sammy, hit that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Where are we starting today, Sammy Long?
All right, we're going to start local. We've obviously just been talking about it. Dodgers 8-0, Padres 7-0. What team is going to lose first?
Look, they both have pretty tough weekend matchups. The Padres in Chicago taking on the Cubs. Cubs are 5-4 on the year as of right now. And then the Dodgers are facing the Phillies with Bryce Harper, who's off to a good start. I believe he hit his 6th career opening day home run this year. That's a pretty stupid stat if you ask me. Both have good opponents this weekend. We'll see. I'd like to say the Dodgers, but easily ask me tomorrow night after the Padres game is over.
I'm not to piggyback. I think both, Phillies playing the Dodgers. That's a tough series in Philly, but the Cubs aren't a slouch either.
They're playing in Chicago.
The Padres are actually dogs tomorrow, but I don't know. Both these teams, the Dodgers are the comeback kids already. They have 8 wins and 6 of them or 7 of them are comebacks.
I thought last night was the night, man. Padres had the night off last night because they played during the day. So I was able to watch the last couple innings of that Dodgers game. And of course, Shohei Ohtani walk-off home run. It looked like the entire game the Dodgers were going to lose it.
Interesting about that. So Max Muncy was using a torpedo bat and he was not doing anything. And then he actually dished it in the 8th inning. And that's when he hit the 2-run single. Or 2-run double. So kind of interesting question about torpedo bats there, but both teams firing on all cylinders. I think both teams have amazing bullpens, and we've seen that so far this season. They just kind of shut teams down even when they jump out early. The Padres really have been kind of starting with leads, but the Dodgers haven't, and both bats have been amazing. But
the Padres have been a little more dominant so far.
Yeah.
But you feel like what the Dodgers have been doing maybe even a little more sustainable because of the depth that they have on their team.
The Padres are blanking teams in jumping all over them. The Dodgers have the aura of it doesn't feel like if they get down, any lead is really insurmountable because the whole lineup is stacked. But the Padres lineup is stacked as well.
And the Padres are playing so aggressive. They're stealing bases all over the place. You saw yesterday, Luis Ariz stealing second for Fernando to come home.
Good to see Ariz get going, too, with that homer.
A couple hits. I was never worried about Luis Ariz getting his average up. He's going to do it. He's going to be a career 300-ish hitter. He'll get there this year, too. What's story number 2?
Number 2. Oh, it wouldn't be a big 3 without the Dallas Cowboys. Patriots trade quarterback Joe Milton to the Cowboys for a 5th-round pick.
Now, Joe Milton, he was the story of preseason a couple years ago, last year.
Yeah, and then he was good down the stretch. I believe he got in one game because May was hurt or something. Right. But he was a good player.
Crazy athletic, decent quarterback, can run. Why did the Cowboys trade for him?
I don't get it. I mean, we're talking about. I think it's Jerry. Not even kidding. Wants the Cowboys to be in the news cycle because he trades a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. That did nothing. He didn't even crack the lineup and. The Cowboys were desperate for a receiver other than CeeDee Lamb last year. You trade for Trey Lance. The Niners absolutely fleece a pick back for him, and clearly the Niners didn't believe in him, and the Cowboys don't either. When Dak was hurt, he wasn't playing. Now you go trade for Joe Milton. I just think Jerry can't not be the center of attention, and when Dak gets some of this, it's like, well, we're going to go trade for a quarterback, and we're gonna get in here, and we're going to cause a stir. I don't get it at all. I don't know why they're doing this. Joe Milton's a nice upside player, but you need these selections. The Cowboys have many holes. Why you're trading away mid-round picks? I know it's a 5th round, but they need to hit on these. Why you're trading picks away for a backup quarterback? I don't know what that says to Dak Prescott. I don't know what that says to the team, frankly. I don't get it.
5th-round picks can turn into Isaiah Pacheco, who was a big reason why the Chiefs won
7. Kittle was a 5. I mean, it's
Alvin Kamara, I believe, was a 5th-round pick. Like, you can find really, really good players in the 5th round and beyond. The Dallas Cowboys continue to have a head-scratching couple of years. I mean, I feel bad for Jerry.
Do you?
He's just an old man.
He can't get out of his own way.
Someone get him a McChicken. He likes McDonald's.
Remember when he was eating that McDonald's thing on Hard Knocks?
That's his breakfast like every morning, I guess.
It's like, Jerry, your heart.
All right, number 3.
Number 3, heading to the NBA. We touched on it. Lakers, Warriors playing tonight. Denver lost last night. What are we thinking between the Warriors and the Lakers in terms of who is more equipped to go on a deeper run and can play the Thunder at the top?
So I was thinking about this earlier, and the answer to that one is most likely the Lakers. Like, I feel like the Lakers are going to get on a run, and you heard Jason McIntyre just before we got on say he thinks the Lakers are a shoo-in for the Western Conference Finals. That might be true. But for tonight's game, wouldn't it almost be fun if they said, you know what, screw the whole NBA team. Let's just go 2-on-2. Luka, LeBron, Steph, Jimmy. I think Luka and LeBron dominate that because of size advantages, but who's going to be guarding Steph? He could dribble around anybody.
It's unreal. I think what's so fascinating about these teams, both of these teams were left for dead before the trades midseason. They were going nowhere. They were aging stars. It felt like it was kind of running the same thing back. The Warriors didn't have anyone besides Steph Curry, and the Lakers, it felt like the same old thing. AD and LeBron, they might get you a playoff series, but they're going to lose to Denver. Completely flipped the state of the franchise. And then you have Oklahoma City, who by all accounts, all season should be the favorite. They're number 1 in defensive efficiency. They're unreal. They're young. They have everything an NBA title contender would want. But in the Warriors and the Lakers, you have Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, 2 of the most clutch playoff performers of all time. Luka Doncic, who is second in points per game in the entire playoffs, only behind MJ. And then we all know what LeBron James has done in the playoffs. So it's
choked.
It's 3-1 series comeback. But it's fascinating to think, like, I mean, what are these teams? You got to take them out.
Well, also, you flip the narrative on those two guys' season. Like, Jimmy Butler was becoming a pain in the ass in Miami. There were as many people kind of against Jimmy and all that than were against the Heat. And with Luka, the whole narrative of his entire career, great offensive player, incredible. Never plays defense.
Right.
Gets to the Lakers and all of a sudden he can play defense.
Right, he's playing, and you feel like if either of these teams get to a game 7 against an Oklahoma City, even though Oklahoma City on paper is the deeper team and they have everything you'd want, I don't know that the Lakers or the Warriors necessarily feel like underdogs, because in a one-game scenario, you give me Curry and Butler or LeBron and Luka versus Shea, who we know is a baller, but he's never got past the second round, and Jalen Williams is a really good player. Is that really the number 2 that's going to get you over the hump versus these guys? I don't know. I can't wait for this game tonight. And Minnesota's playing damn good at the bottom of the bracket as well.
It's going to be a fun one. You'll hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll check in with Alan Sliwa coming up at 1:30 today to talk about that game. In other news, adding a fourth to the big 3 here today. Do you see who's pissed off about the Jackson Merrill contract extension?
Who?
Scott Boras, super agent of Major League Baseball stars. Juan Soto's agent. I think Blake Snell's agent. A lot of the big contracts that have been signed, the multi-hundreds of $1 million deals that have been given out to Major League Baseball players over the last few years, a lot of them are going through Scott Boras. He is pissed because Jackson Merrill took so far below market value. He hates the words team-friendly discount.
We're never going to hear this because players want to watch out for each other and you don't want to throw other guys under the bus. And credit to Jackson Merrill. It's so cool what he did for the city of San Diego, and knowing that the team really is cash-strapped and with all the ownership suing was able to do this. You wonder secretly what other players think who are coming up, who are getting extensions, because if Jackson Merrill's everything that we think he is and is going to continue to be, you're going to look at that contract here in a year and go, that might be the best deal in baseball.
I agree with you 100%. That was my first reaction when I saw the deal signed. This is from Kevin Acey's article yesterday. Quote, some people around the league estimated Merrill could have made $400 million more than if he had gone through his arbitration years and hit free agency in 2030. That does assume good health and continued production, and it overlooks that if he has those two things, he will be a free agent again at 31 years old in line to get a big contract. But here's what Kevin's saying. The max of this contract is around $204 million. We did see the terms, so he has to get like a top 5 MVP finish at some point in the next 9 years to get an extra 30 mil. If he's top 10 any of the years, I think he gets an extra $1 million every time he's top 10. There's a bunch of incentives that go on that can give you a max of 204. The number most likely, I'm saying most likely because that includes none of those MVP stats. Most likely it's going to finish at 165 because he just has to hit 500 plate appearances in each of the seasons to get additional money. And you're going to get that. Like Xander Bogaerts has hit at least 500 plate appearances the last couple of years with the Padres. He's going to hit that. So if the number's 165 and people around baseball are saying that this contract was $400 million light, that means people around baseball are saying if Jackson Merrill would have gone through the process, gone to arbitration, he could have been in line for a 10-year, $600 million deal.
You know what I'm surprised is just from Jackson Merrill's perspective. And again, it's fantastic for the city that he signed this deal.
He let the Padres off the hook.
It's cool that we're seeing a kind of change because a lot of people, and I know everyone would be guilty about this, if you're sitting there looking at a contract, everyone goes, why don't they just take less money? But then when you have the chance to make $100 million more, it's tough to say no to. You wonder if you're Jackson Merrill, why you didn't sign a short-term extension, 4 years, less money, and because he's 21, about to be 22.
Yeah,
he could come up when he's 25, and you're going to be not even at your prime yet.
Yeah, that's what you or I would have done, Sammy.
That's right.
But Jackson Merrill was going to help out the Padres.
That's what's cool. But it's interesting to see what other young stars coming up if they're pissed off by this deal, because Ketel Marte's got extended.
Mm-hmm.
Ketel Marte doesn't have the upside of Jackson Merrill.
Well, this is very similar to the Braves deal with Acuna. At the time, everyone was like, Acuna, what the hell are you doing, dude? Wait a couple years. You can get broken off big time.
They're gonna rip this thing up in 3 years.
I don't know if they are, man. I was trying to read through to see what options there were, but it's a partial no trade clause. Again, you can say that if Jackson Merrill and the Padres both agree to rip it up, you can rip it up. That's what Manny Machado did a couple years ago. But the Padres don't have to.
They don't have to. It's a very bad look. If he becomes a top 5 player in baseball and they hold him to this 3-4 years from now, hoping this doesn't happen, could see some animosity, but kudos to Jackson Merrill.
Maybe Jackson Merrill at 21 years old is having the foresight of, this is what I want. I want the Padres to be able to fill teams around me.
That could be true as well.
Fill teams around Tatis, and maybe he's fine with that throughout his whole career, but I doubt it, man. He's going to get 2 or 3 years down the line, and if he continues at this production, he's going to be like, why the F am I not getting paid like some of my friends?
When Soto,
why the F don't I have a private yacht?
I'm not going to lie. I'd be taking that money.
I would too. But you know what? You and I are Jackson Merrill.
Exactly. That's why we're not playing the MLB.
We also work in radio, so we will never look at that money in our lives.
Shout out to Jackson Merrill.
All right, quick break. When we come back, let's get into the Padres a little bit deeper. They're on the road for the first time this year. Plus, Lakers and the Warriors have a huge game tonight. And Stephen A. Smith is lighting the baseball world on fire a little bit. You've never heard me say those words. Stephen A. Smith usually stays away from baseball, but he's lighting the baseball world on fire right now. We'll have that audio for you coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. Listen to San Diego Sports 760 on the free iHeartRadio app. Download the app. It's free. And once it's on your phone, you can search San Diego Sports 760, add us to your presets, use the talkback mic. Tons of cool features going on the free iHeartRadio app. Breaking news in a couple of categories that have nothing to do with sports. Actually, one sports. Geno Smith signed a 2-year extension with the Las Vegas Raiders. He'll be their quarterback through 2027. Pete Carroll, Geno Smith back together. They wrote. No one wrote back. And then in the world of film, actually, 2 movies that have been approved. We have a trailer for one of them. We have just a note from the other one. Sammy's going to be very happy. The final Friday, the last Friday, the newest installment of the Friday series with Ice Cube has been approved. Ice Cube is perfect timing. Ice Cube is going to write, direct, star in the new installment of Friday. Sammy, those are like your favorite movies, right?
Oh, it's the best. We had no, Friday is one of the greats, and I can't wait to see. I hope I'm praying Chris Tucker is back.
Same
for it. And then Mike Epps is phenomenal. He should come back as well, but we need Chris Tucker back. Smokey needs to be in this movie.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then in much older times, one of my dad's favorite movies and favorite TV shows of all time was Police Squad or The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen. It is being remade. And the 2 who are teaming up for it, I believe, are the right 2 for the job. Seth MacFarlane to direct, Liam Neeson to star.
Hell yeah.
As Detective Franks, I'm going to forget his last name, and I just lost all my street cred with this one. But OJ famously was in these movies, and the trailer addresses that right at the very beginning of it. The trailer for that one's awesome. I just retweeted it at Fletch Sports. You can find it there. But that if there was going to be anyone to remake the Naked Gun movie, it is Seth MacFarlane, who did Family Guy, A Million Ways to Die in the West, one of my favorite comedy movies.
Great movie.
Which starred Liam Neeson, who is going to be starring as Leslie Nielsen's character in the newly remade Naked Gun.
And we forgot to do this yesterday, but gotta give some props. The one and only late great Val Kilmer, especially San Diego, Top Gun. He will be missed. One of the greatest actors of all time.
Family Guy actually just did a Top Gun Maverick kind of spoof for one of their new episodes of this new season, and it's fantastic.
Oh, really?
It's hilarious, man. Stewie plays Val Kilmer. It's so good. It's really good stuff. All right. Stephen A. Smith is lighting the baseball world on fire right now with a take that's become popular across the land, but I don't know that I necessarily agree with it. But let's hear from Stephen A. Smith here on a Thursday.
A little bit different than that.
Go ahead.
It's a little bit worse than that. You're absolutely positively correct with everything that you said, but you're leaving out something. The sport of baseball is in trouble if this continues. This is reminiscent of what Kevin Durant, when Kevin Durant joined Golden State. It was a foregone conclusion what was going to happen. They're going to win the championship. You watch the Dodgers. Mookie Betts hits a walk-off. Shohei Ohtani hits a walk-off. I mean, you're just looking at them. You saw the money they spent in the offseason, which nobody else could spend. You saw the assets they've accumulated. You saw Shohei Ohtani deferring his money, which made things even more convenient for them to go out and get additional talent. And when they won the World Series, they had like 5-7 guys in their rotation that was on the injured list.
Yep.
All right, it goes on for a little bit more.
Stephen A. is right about a couple things on there. The Dodgers are doing stuff that only the Dodgers can do. But I mean, the Yankees and the Mets, you could say, are in the same ballpark, but the Dodgers are spending money like only the Dodgers can. Here's where he's wrong. Comparing this to basketball. Yep. In the sport of basketball, one player can come over and make that difference that Kevin Durant did on a team that, by the way, was probably already going to win the championship at the time that he joined the Warriors.
They already won one.
But in basketball, one player in a team that starts 5 people can make such a huge difference where you know it's a foregone conclusion before the end. And by the way, in basketball, over a 7-game series, it's highly unlikely for a team to be able to pull 4 upsets in a 7-game series. Baseball's different.
Yeah.
Baseball, you got 3 starting pitchers who are hot, and the bats get hot at the right time. Anybody can be anybody. It was never a foregone conclusion a year ago that the Dodgers were going to win the World Series.
And it's in baseball and hockey are different. The NFL is a 1-game scenario, so we've seen big upsets. To your point, Fletch, I really like that. The NBA, it's usually the best teams prevail unless there's an injury or something. So it makes this kind of playoffs really fun. But I mean, we've seen the 2022 Padres on paper had no business beating the Dodgers.
Correct.
Not even close. They were, I believe, like plus 500, 600 dogs to win the series outright. When they went up 2-1, they still were underdogs. Baseball's different with the pitchers. And here's my thing about the Dodgers.
The Arizona Diamondbacks never should have been in the World Series 2 years ago.
Totally. And baseball needs storylines. when the World Series goes, it's in October. It's competing against NFL, which is by far the biggest sport in America, and it's not even close. Everyone's fighting for number 2. The NBA is going, college football is going, college basketball starting up. You're fighting for attention, and people want storylines. Why do people hate the Cowboys? People hate the Celtics. People hate the Lakers. If you're not a fan of those teams, of the Yankees, the Dodgers are the same way. It's the big bad Dodgers now, and I think it gives a rooting interest for some kid in Milwaukee whose team is out, the Brewers aren't playing, and everyone's rooting against the Dodgers. Look at the Padres and Dodgers series last year. Why would anyone in Miami care about a freeway series 2 hours apart between San Diego and LA? Because you saw how much they disliked each other in the rivalry and how much the fans dislike each other, and people go, I'm gonna pick a horse in this race.
Yeah, Stephen A doesn't watch very much baseball. I think we can kind of attribute part of that to that.
I think he watches the Yankees a lot.
He watches the Yankees, he is super good at basketball. He is super good with boxing. NFL, little weak. Baseball, little weak.
I equate this to boxing. I've said this before. Floyd Mayweather knew that the way he fought was not exciting. It's a defensive style. It's a hit, don't get hit, pick your shots, win over 12 rounds and get out. But he knew that if he had the loudest mouth, people would pay $100 to try to see him lose because they wanted to see him get knocked out. I think the same can be said about the Dodgers in the sense that everyone's going to be looking to see them get knocked out, and it's going to equate to big ratings.
All right, tons of people in the YouTube chat already. Thank you for being here at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. Paris, good afternoon, gents. Good afternoon to you, Paris. Thank you for being here.
Hell yeah, Paris.
Alexander, Raiders are drafting Shador. That's the only reason to extend. Geno Smith, veteran.
I didn't think about that.
Really smart quarterback, maybe to kind of what's it called? Welcome Shador into the league and let him sit under Geno for a little bit. Absolutely. Alexander also says Dodgers are going to lose first. Look, the Dodgers have gotten the closest to losing so far between the two teams. Maria says, good afternoon. Hi, Maria. Thank you for being here. And Tyler, what up, fam? Is Tyler our prize picks homie?
Tyler's our prize picks guy. Tyler's always sending me picks. I love it, man. He's pretty solid with them, too.
All right, Big Rich Ornberger, my prize picks, brother. We both endorse prize picks, is coming up next. We're going to chat some NFL rule changes with Rich and about his viral nipples. You'll find out what that means coming up next at San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by the San Diego Zoo Panda Ridge. Per Adam Schefter right now, quarterback Geno Smith is signing a 2-year, $85.5 million extension with the Raiders. That includes $66.5 million guaranteed. Will be interesting to see if they go after a quarterback in the draft. And the Warriors and Lakers, you get it right here on San Diego Sports 760 tonight, starting at 7 o'clock. The Lakers are currently favored by 1.5, with the total set at 229.5. The Warriors are currently 0-3 against the Lakers on the season. The Pandas are back at the San Diego Zoo as you become immersed in their natural surroundings. Your visit to the San Diego Zoo helps protect pandas in the bamboo forest they depend on. See pandas for the first time so we can see them for generations to come.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy along with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. And if we see a big man walking through the hallways, we yell at him, scream at him, tell him to come in the studio. Hi, Rich.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, we wrapped up Big Rich, TD, and Fletch over at 1015 KGB, and then I loitered around long enough for you guys to ensnare me.
What's going on?
Everything's good.
He's at the Padres game yesterday.
Yeah.
Saw our boy Jackson Merrill hit a home run.
5-2 victory over the Guardians.
Did you bring a glove to the game?
I absolutely would never bring a glove to a baseball game.
Rich, see, this is what a grown adult does. They don't bring little kids' gloves.
I almost caught a ball with my bare hand, like a man.
Like a man. Fletch?
What'd you eat? An acai bowl?
No. What? Wait. Why are you guys asking dumb questions? I had nachos and a dog, and I didn't bring a glove because I'm not 8 years old.
Thank you.
Or okay, actually, I will say this.
By Rich's logic, a man that's combined of me and Sammy would be actual man.
Yeah.
He eats acai bowls. I like to bring my glove.
I will make one argument for the acai bowls because I had one at the San Diego Science Expo at Petco Park.
Mm-hmm.
I never in my entire time going to Padres games ever ordered an acai bowl, but I'm like, but this is different. This is just a Science Expo hosted at Petco Park, so now I'm allowed. It was delightful.
I'm sure it was. How do you say it, Sammy? You say it in a wacky way.
Acai bowl.
It's acai.
Acai. This dude, you won't even have one. He's correcting me on how to say it.
Yeah. And by the way, you don't speak French.
You're right. I don't. All right, well, we brought Rich in here to talk about the NFL rule changes. We had a bunch of them a couple days ago. Sammy and I have been discussing over the last couple of weeks or last couple of days. But the newest one, the replay assist to pick up flags, can't add flags to a play. And Sammy's quoted you actually a million times because you could throw a flag on every play. But they're picking things up now for roughing the passer, pass interference, pretty much anything.
I get the reason why. I understand the reason for it. I just don't like getting more replay involved in the game. I think it slows down the action. I think anytime you give officials more time to deliberate, it's going to cause more grief for fans. Like, so think about something that you see on the field one way and it doesn't get called, or it does. And then the officials decide to go and convene, and then they still get it wrong in your view. It's only going to piss you off more, and it's going to slow the game down. Now, from the fan's perspective, whatever. I mean, maybe it's time to go take a leak or buy another beer at the concession stand if you're at the game. From the player standpoint, when you're imposing your will as an offense and you've got a defense in deep water and you're 12 plays into a drive and you have one of these replays that allows the defense to catch their breath, it pisses you off. It really does. So I think all of this stuff disrupts game flow, and I'm not supportive of it.
I didn't even think about that, but imagine you, Rich Orenberger, playing for the Patriots, Tom Brady behind you, or Phillip Rivers behind you with the Chargers. You get called on a face mask, and you know for a fact you didn't grab that face mask.
Yeah, I get it. But I almost would rather just take the penalty and move on rather than slow the game down.
Did you get penalized a lot?
No, not a ton. Although I was a dirty player, so there were a lot of conversations with refs. There were a lot.
All right, what about overtime rules? Regular season's now going to equal overtime. Both teams get a shot to touch the ball, even if it's a touchdown scored on the first play.
It's the right move. It'll lead to less ties, which suck. And it'll also lead to more interesting action. The fact that a team can get the ball, win the coin toss, get the ball, drive the field, score a touchdown, and win the game is ridiculous. It's anti-football. That's not how the game's played in any other aspect. That's the reason why I don't really love the college rules where you start with the football deep inside your own or your opponent's own territory. Like, let's play football. And so The overtime rules in the NFL is the closest thing to actual football, and so I think they should do that in the regular season.
Where are you at on the tush push? I know there's been a lot of, it was 16-16 on the vote. They're tabling it for May. Do you think because it's unstoppable, it should be taken out of the game, or do you think it's just teams got to figure it out?
Teams got to figure it out. When a team has a play that they execute that's really no different than a play that any other team can execute. All 32 teams have a QB sneak up and active in their playbook. Some teams won't do it because they have an aging quarterback they're afraid to injure. Some teams won't do it because they have a quarterback who's not used to taking snaps under center, or they won't do it because they have an undersized quarterback. In the Philadelphia Eagles situation, they have a quarterback who squats more than most linebackers. I mean, he's extremely strong. And then on top of it, you've got a running back behind him this year who can squat the world in Saquon Barkley, Quadzilla back there. And then an offensive line who's really good at getting leverage on defensive linemen. So they get a lot of push with that play. Every team could do this. Every team could do this well, but they're the only ones who do, so we're going to penalize them. I can't even believe it got that much traction. But then again, these votes are coming from owners. They're not coming from players. They're not coming from coaches. These people don't play the sport. These people complain about other teams having unfair advantages. So when you think of it from that standpoint, when it's a boardroom filled with, 50 to 80-year-old, mostly white men who are competing for dominance in the NFL, of course they're going to be like, hey, his yacht's bigger than mine, so we're going to forbid yachts bigger than 120 feet.
Shefty does have a tweet out because this has been tabled now until May, I think. And Shefty has a tweet out, and I'm not going to be able to pull it up right now, that he thinks it's going to get banned.
Well, they need 8 more votes in order for any rule to change, like the ones we were just discussing. You need 24 votes, which is 3/4 of the NFL league owners to jump on board one side or the other. What's happening right now is there's probably a small committee of very eager owners who are on the horn constantly harassing other owners to jump on their side so they can ban this play. And they may actually turn 8 more votes in their favor.
Rich, flip into the NFL draft real quick. So you played at Penn State. Abdul Carter, the projected number 1 pick, but he's got the foot injury. Do you think he's the safest pick in the draft, or where would you go with the number 1 pick, knowing Travis Hunter's available, or a quarterback?
Yeah, injuries are tough, but I would say a pass rusher being of equal or in sometimes greater value, depending on the day or the game, to a quarterback, that's a gamble I'm willing to take, especially if you have an apparent need. And there's a couple of teams that have lousy seasons who have good quarterback play, and they need to improve their defense. The Cincinnati Bengals are a perfect example of a team like that who maybe would be interested in trading up into the draft or higher into the draft. But there's other teams. There's other good examples of that where the defense needs to improve. He will be an automatic improvement, assuming health, which I think it's fair to assume health with the way players treat their bodies nutrition-wise, training-wise, and the advancements in surgeries around sports.
Before we get you out of here, any thoughts on the Hawkeye technology for first downs next year?
I think it's good.
Josh Allen maybe in the Super Bowl this last year if it was a lot around.
That's your favorite thing to bring up.
Well, that's what this rule is for.
It's because Josh Allen can't be Patrick Mahomes, so we have to change rules. That's every NFL offseason.
Got a first down and there was a blown call.
The best quarterbacks do get the most rule changes around the games that they win, or the ones who have, like, for example, the reason why we're talking about the tush push obviously is because Jalen Hurts and the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
And I'll bet you the Chiefs voted to ban the tush push.
By the way, the reason why we're talking about flags getting picked up is because the Chiefs get an absurd amount of flags. The reason why we're talking about Hawkeye technology is because the Buffalo Bills may have gotten jobbed on one really important call on a first down. So look, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, these Super Bowl winning, or actually Josh Allen hasn't yet, but these great quarterbacks in the NFL, they're going to move the line. They're going to motivate ownership to change rules. And so Hawkeye technology probably was needed 15 years ago. We'll see how it works, though. I have my suspicions there's still going to be problems.
Rich, congratulations. Your nipples are actually a virus right now on TikTok.
Yeah, we went viral on 101 KGB on TikTok, and it's all thanks to Creed.
Yeah, it's thanks to Creed and Scott Stapp. Love that guy.
Love that guy, yeah.
See you, Rich.
Catch you guys later. Thanks for having me on the show.
There he goes, Rich Ornberger. We'll be right back. Long shots coming up in 10 minutes on San Diego Sports 760. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? There's no San Diego baseball game today. I got you covered. Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. And how about this? I just opened up the app. A promo on a Thursday, a $15 hockey protected play. If you make a all hockey lineup, click the little tab that says protected play. You are going to get a $15 risk-free lineup. So even if you lose, you're getting that $15 back in promo funds. If you win it, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash on Prize Picks. How do you do that? Well, you create entries, right? An entry is 2 to 6 players. You pick more than or less than on their stat projections. So, for example, in hockey, if you have a goalie that you really like, more than or less than on the amount of saves that they'll have. If you have a forward that you really like, more or less on assists, shots on goal, goals scored, all of those stat categories are there for you on Prize Picks. And you just pick more or less than on each of those stats for 2 to 6 different players. Got to be on separate teams, but that's the way it goes on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. We're going to give you $50 to play with once you play your first $5 entry, and you can run your game all season long on Prize Picks, the app that has won me over $4,400 since November of 2023. Download the app today, and hell, Sammy's going to give you a lineup for free coming up in about 5 minutes on Long Shots. It's San Diego Sports 760. We'll be right back. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got Lakers basketball coming up tonight. Huge game against the Warriors. All right, if you missed it, yesterday, San Diego State basketball got a new commit. His name is Sean Newman Jr. He's a point guard, which Sammy and I have been talking about. They need a point guard heading into next year. From all reports, this guy's a stud. He played junior college in the Fullerton area, so he is a Southern California kid. And then he went to Louisiana over the last couple of years, has played a lot of college basketball, potentially 2 years of eligibility with that new Supreme Court ruling that junior college years aren't going to count against your eligibility in some sense of the matter. So, look, this is big time. They needed a playmaker. They needed a point guard. And that's exactly what they got in Sean Newman Jr. So this offseason just keeps getting better for Aztec basketball. Lagoon Guath coming back most likely, unless he gets drafted. Miles Bird coming back unless he gets drafted. Reese Waters probably coming back off that injury that he was kept off the court from this year. And then adding Sean Newman Jr., a potential starter for the Aztecs at the point guard position. 6'1" from Southern California, went to Louisiana Tech, played really, really good college basketball. He's a pass-first point guard, 245 assists a year ago. That's 7.9 a game, 8 assists a game for this guy, Sammy. Big deal for the Aztecs bringing him in. Should be a lot of fun. All right, every single day around this time, we do a little something called Long Shots, where Sammy creates a daily fantasy sports lineup. Yesterday, we were oh so close.
Real quickly, Carlos Rodon. Blacklisted.
Blacklisted.
Very frustrating that you had to sell that in the first inning.
I think I called that, didn't I? Didn't I say the short porch out at Yankee Stadium was going to be trouble for the first inning?
I don't know that you said that. I think you're making things up.
I said exactly that, actually. We can go back to the podcast and take a look. But it's okay. Sammy's 2 for 3 on the week. That's pretty good batting average. That'll get you in the Hall of Fame. You do that every single week.
I have 2 plays today because per 949, we have a NHL protected play, as you were saying. That's going to come after. So we have 2 separate bets today, 2 separate plays.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Long shot, Sammy. Hit that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait. Got it. It's time for Sammy's Long Shots.
Be Less Humble 2025, Sammy. Forget about the loss. Give us a winner.
Be Less Humble 2025. All right, we got a 4-leg parlay for the first one, okay? We have 1 baseball selection, a little bit lighter baseball slate today. Obviously, the Padres are off, so not a lot to go there. Nestor Cortez, though. People might call me crazy for this one. Milwaukee's playing Cincinnati. Cortez got 8 up. They allowed 20 runs in his first game back at Yankee Stadium. He was the guy who gave up the grand slam to Freddie Freeman in the World Series. 5 pitcher strikeouts today, though, against that Cincinnati lineup. I think we have a big bounce-back game. People are looking at, went back to New York, playing his old team. Obviously did not end well there, and New York fans are not necessarily kind to former players who did not play very well. So Cortez, I think, gets a little bit bounce back. It was a big offseason acquisition from the Brewers. More than 5 pitcher strikeouts. That's number 1. We're into the association for the next 2. We're sticking to primetime games because per our listeners, they want games that they can watch. We should have thought about that, Fletch. You know, picking games that they can't watch is probably not the best thing to go for.
This is Long Shots, not Fletch Shots. That's a quote from you, bro.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I have to remind you.
Where are we going in the NBA?
First primetime game of the day. Memphis at Miami. Both teams in the playoff picture. Miami's struggling there in the bottom of the Eastern Conference. But Memphis is in a free fall as well. They had lost to the Lakers. They just got 52 dropped on them by Steph. They need this win badly. So John Morant, more than 24 points. He got his head coach fired, Taylor Jenkins, because they weren't giving him the ball enough. In the 2 games since he's been fired, he's hit his over in both games because the offense is completely flowing through John Morant. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to have his hands full down there with Bam Adebayo. I think John Morant, we see a fun guard duel between him and Tyler Herro tonight. More than 24 points.
I like it. Next.
Night game. Lakers, Golden State, the game everyone's waiting for. We have 2 different selections in this game.
LeJean Brames.
So Jackson Hayes, 10.5 points and rebounds for the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going more than. I think he becomes a focal point of the game tonight because the Warriors don't have the size to match up. Draymond Green will be guarding him unless LeBron is on the floor or Rui and he decides to kind of match up there. I think there's a lot of opportunity to clean up on the glass. The Warriors have not been very big. They get out-rebounded all the time, and they put up a lot of shots to be able to get rebounds. So Jackson Hayes, more than 10.5 points and rebounds. I think he's a factor scoring as well. The lob threat between Luka and him has really been working well recently. We're going more on that.
I like it.
This is a fun one. Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler combined
combo. Come on now. Where do you see that on Prize Picks?
You gotta look it up. Just look up Jimmy Butler.
No, I know. I got it right here, but I'm saying, where do you see that other than Prize Picks?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Nowhere.
I got you. Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, 46.5 points, more than. I think these are the 2 players. These are the 2 players that came over midseason. They have not played against the other team for their respective teams yet this year. I think both have massive nights. Luka's
like 24 points each. That's easy.
Luka's going to ball. I think Jimmy Butler actually becomes a big part of the offense. The Lakers defense has been pretty good. I expect Steph Curry to get his like he always does. But people forget in that 52-point outing, he almost had a triple-double with rebounds and assists. He's really been passing the ball very well. I think this is a big game for Jimmy Butler. I think he gets to the line a lot tonight. I think 46.5 combined points for Luka and Jimmy Butler gets hit.
Do I get to veto one here?
You do get to veto
I
one.
really don't feel good about Nestor Cortez.
Okay, that's fine. We can take
the second day in a row you're going for somebody. Well, he's You said he was playing against the Yankees.
No. He played against the Yankees last week. He plays for Milwaukee. He's playing against Cincinnati.
Okay, I actually feel better about this now. I didn't realize he was playing against the Reds.
He got 8 up last week, and I think that we're going to have a massive bounce back.
And he's at home. He's at whatever something family park. Can't remember what the name of it is.
Oracle not Oracle.
It's
whatever.
Not important is what it is.
Matter.
But okay, yeah. Then no vetoes. I like them all.
All right, I like it. So Nestor Cortez, more than 5 pitcher strikeouts. John Morant, more than 24 points. Jackson Hayes, more than 10.5 points in rebounds. And Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler, more than 46.5 points. Take it to the bank.
I'm good with it.
Put the house on it.
All right, and if you would like, if you're going to be watching hockey tonight, Sammy also has a hockey one. Let's rip through these lightning fast.
Lightning fast. These are just a hockey pick. It's a protected play. So $15, you get your money back. So might as well place it. 2 things. Leon Draisaitl, playing for Edmonton, playing San Jose tonight. I'm going less on faceoffs 1 than 10. Draisaitl's one of the best players in the NHL. Here's the problem. San Jose's terrible, and I think that coming down the playoff stretch here, they need this game. I think this is a blowout, and they try to get his ice time down with the playoffs a week and a half away. So under 10 faceoffs 1. Alex Iafallo, playing for Winnipeg, got traded from the LA Kings 2 years ago, playing in Vegas. Really fun matchup. Winnipeg and Vegas, 2 of the best teams in the entire league. More than 1.5 shots on goal for Iafallo tonight. He hasn't hit this in the last 2 games, but because they're playing Vegas, I think he gets it. It's a big part of the offense.
By the way, not for nothing, if you were listening to Sammy this week and you were following along with Prize Picks, you've made $207 this week.
I told you, we're all about profit.
Because we've had 1 loss, and so that's a $20 loss, but you've made $207 if you've been listening to Sammy all week long.
We got to give out winners to the people.
That's pretty good, man.
The people have been asking. The people send in their picks, and we love them.
We love them. Especially Tyler. Tyler, who also does say, if you haven't submitted the lineup yet, 5.5 strikeouts is a demon for Cortez, so higher payout. Ooh. So if you feel like he's going to get to 5.5, that basically is what we did. We need him to get to 6.
So he needs 1 more strikeout.
So yeah, but 5.5, because so if you got 5, it'd be a push no matter what. Right. But 5.5, you just need to.
Yeah. I'm excited. We got a good selection tonight.
Good call, Tyler. Sammy should have noticed that. Huh. All right, we got a busy show still. Coming up in hour number 2, Alan Sliwa is going to join the show. If you've never heard that name before, he's a regular here. We talk Lakers with Alan all the time. He also has a YouTube channel, Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa. That's actually Sammy's other job. Yes, he cheats on me all the time. I mean, I cheat on you every single day with Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, so I guess that's fair. But Alan Sliwa is going to be coming up at 1:30 today to talk some Lakers. Warriors tonight, one of the bigger matchups of the regular season in the NBA. Padres have the day off. I'm sure Jackson Merrill is buying a round of drinks in downtown Chicago somewhere after he got his new paycheck, even though that paycheck is way smaller than it probably should have been. Kevin Acee said people around the league are estimating that's about $400 million too cheap of a contract for Jackson Merrill.
Okay, what do you think Merrill's reaction is when he reads that?
So did you see Jackson Merrill in his press conference actually acknowledge Kevin Acee?
I didn't see him acknowledge Acee, but I watched some of his press conference.
His press conference, well, first, like Kevin walked up and gave him a handshake, not a congratulations, but like a, hey, how are you, Jackson? And so during the press conference, it popped up in the middle, and I don't know what provoked this out of Jackson Merrill, but he says he actually likes when Kevin Acee writes negatively about him, so it can break him out of the slump because it gives him a little fuel. So our guy Kev is making a difference in Jackson Merrill's career.
Maybe Merrill's listening to the show, and if we intentionally dog him.
I think he had an AirPod in yesterday because when he struck out in his first at bat, we kind of gave him some mess.
We gave him some mess, and he's listening, and he doesn't want to let us down. He doesn't want to let the city of San Diego down.
You and Jackson in another lifetime could have been best friends.
2 stars in the city of San Diego. Who's more? I don't know. I don't have that contract, though.
Would you like to amend that statement real quick?
We'll leave it be.
Be less humble.
The people can decide. The text line can decide.
All right, quick break. When we return, hour number 2 gets going. Plenty to get to here. What are the Padres up to on their off day? We actually have a report about it. Aztecs, newest commits. There's 2 of them who have been added to this team. Padres day off. Already said that one. NFL rule changes. Lakers, Warriors tonight. Lots still to get to on a Thursday. Keep it right here. San Diego Sports 760.
This sport is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Lakers are back tonight. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760, taking on the Warriors. The Lakers are currently -1.5. The point total set at 229.5. That game will get going at 7 o'clock. As always, you can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. They are 3-0 against the Warriors this season. And the Padres getting back tomorrow. They are off today. Randy Vasquez will be taking them out against Shota Manga for the Cubs. That game will get going at 11:20 a.m. tomorrow. Anderson's Drain Stoppage Guarantee. Solve issues for $63 or it's on the house. Nobody wows clients like they do. Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air has been privileged to serve over 500,000 residential clients for more than 45 years. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
San Diego Sports 760. Welcome into hour number 2. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. We really didn't get to the text line at all in the first hour. Let's hit that here. 949 Dodgers will be losing first. Barely scraped back last night. Yeah, it took a Shohei Ohtani walk-off home run. That dude's really good at baseball. It's kind of annoying. 858, lots of assumptions about Jackson Merrill. The contract is fair. It's really just for his first 4 years of free agency, if you think about it. That's true. But although people Kevin Acey's talking to are saying that if he would have waited till arbitration, he could have been getting a contract potentially $400 million more than the one he got. 619, Jackson Barrel's parents are teachers making like $40,000 a year. Jackson has a $150 million contract at 22 years old, and he has a home worth more than chasing dollars.
It's a cool point in that, and I think what Fletch and I were saying earlier is it's super cool that he did this. And it's cool that Greed didn't win out, because for most people they wouldn't pass up the money. And I don't necessarily fault players for passing up the money for changing their lives, but it's cool that Merrill understood the situation the Padres are in with spending money and took a hometown discount.
All right, couple things about the world of baseball right now, because there's a lot of belly aching online about some of the changes that have happened over the last, 2 seasons of baseball. The first one, there's a huge article out on ESPN right now. You'll see it everywhere. Are torpedo bats legal? And the answer, the conclusion is yes. They simply just move the sweet spot down a little bit. Torpedo bats are here. Unless something drastic happens, they're here to stay. And the reason why is because it makes baseball more entertaining. We can all come to grips with that. More home runs, better ratings, better numbers, reaching out to a younger generation, and not necessarily the market that baseball's been going after for a long, long time. Secondly, is what the Dodgers doing with the salary legal for baseball? The answer is yes, because it makes baseball more entertaining. And I'll tell you why. And it's a roundabout way, and it's a little bit of risk on the side of Major League Baseball, but I think it forces the rest of the league to get better. I think it forces owners around the league to understand, hey, if we want to compete, if we don't want to make this a one-team show, we all have to get better too. It's very similar to what's happening in the AFC West with the Chiefs. They have now all signed new coaches, teams around the AFC West, to try to get better, to try to keep up with the Chiefs. That's a good thing for competitiveness in football. That's the name of the game, folks. Baseball got boring. Baseball was America's pastime. It was the number one thing going in this country. Baseball didn't change. Baseball let the game age with the times, and they were so steadfast in not changing the game up at all for decades. And baseball fell behind, both football, both basketball, in some parts of this country, and hockey. Maybe the MLS is making a bit of a charge. They're not there yet, but maybe they are. So what baseball is doing is adapting. They are allowing torpedo bats with more home runs. They are allowing the superstars of the league to go to one of their biggest media markets. And hopefully teams start to go like the Padres go, where 5 years ago, Peter Seidler said, screw this, we're making a commitment to this team. We're going to spend. And the Padres did spend. And to this point, they just signed another $100+ million contract over 10 years. That's a big deal. And that's not something that the Padres were doing for a long, long time. So the fact of the matter is, maybe the Dodgers are just buying the best team in baseball. Maybe they win the next 10 World Series. I don't think that's the case. I think that the rest of baseball is going to get better. And I think for the first time in maybe 20 years, baseball is adapting and trying to get better and trying to reach a new audience. And I think that's a good thing.
Right. Well, everyone was resistant to the pitch clock at first, which is insane.
Because pitch clock is awesome, by the way.
It's made baseball relevant again. No one wants to sit and watch a game that's 4.5 hours long out of 162 games, where there's already less in baseball. There's already less importance on individual games. You can go 2 weeks losing, and if you have such a hold on the division,
we haven't even played one NFL game yet.
Exactly.
This season.
So that's why the NFL is a stranglehold on it, because it's like every game matters. You could go from being a playoff team first month of the season to you're looking at the number one overall draft pick. It changes that much. Storylines are good for baseball. It's cool that the torpedo bats are a thing. People are talking about baseball nationally. It's the Padres Dodgers rivalry has really reinvigorated stuff because it used to be the Red Sox and Yankees, and people forget before this Dodgers team where they're loaded and they deferred a bunch of money and they're able to because of the Dodgers and the LA market and sitting in escrow. The last dynasty was outside of Houston, but there was obviously a lot of questions there with the cheating and everything. Was the Yankees with the Jeter,
the Giants.
The Giants, that's fair. But the Yankees were the hated. People hated the Yankees. They hated Jeter. They hated A-Rod. They
Mariano
Rivera. I mean, that team, Sabathia, that team was stacked. And what did we talk about in baseball? Hell, they made a documentary on Netflix. The comeback, the 3-0 comeback for the Red Sox, and the story of Ortiz hitting the bomb. I mean, its storylines are great. And yes, the Dodgers probably will be World Series favorites for the next some odd year start the season, but they're not going to win every season because, as we were talking about earlier, baseball is, you just got to get in. It's not like the NBA where some of these teams get in. It's like, they don't really have a shot. They need a massive injury to even compete. It's not going to be like that. I think it creates fun narratives for October.
Yeah, I mean, think about those Giants teams that we just called the dynasty. They won 3 World Series in 5 years. 2 of those teams were wild card teams.
Right.
2 of those teams, people thought they had no shot. They got like unsung heroes who led them to the way, and that's what it takes. It takes getting bats hot at the right time. It takes a hot pitcher or two to get going, and those Giants teams had a Madison Bumgarner. The Nationals team had Steven Strasburg, who'd been injured his whole career, but came out and had the best season of his life, ended up winning World Series MVP. So baseball is different. There is room for a team like the Dodgers to spend the way they're spending and have a bunch of great people on their team to lose in the postseason. It's going to happen. Maybe not this year, but it's going to happen over the next 10 years when all this money's being spent.
It kind of also builds it up. What do you talk about March Madness? People got to the point of, why should these 16 seeds even be in here? It's just stupid. They get run every time.
Who's everyone's favorite character in the Marvel universe? Thanos. You need a bad guy. Dodgers are a hell of a bad guy.
They're a hell of a bad guy. And they may win the next 3 World Series. But when they get caught, remember in 2022, people not just in San Diego were losing their mind. Right?
I think I'd be willing to bet you a lot of money right now that the Dodgers will not win the next 3 World Series.
No, I highly doubt that as well. I mean, you need narratives. People are going to care in October when you're fighting with the NFL, you're fighting with the NBA, you're fighting with college football, all these sports, college basketball. You want something that Yankees Dodgers was exciting. Padres Dodgers was really exciting because you saw the rivalry. It's important for baseball, and I think it makes it fun.
All right, at the top of every hour, we do a little something called the Big Three, where we take a trip around the top 3 stories in the world of sports. Sammy, hit that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
If you want to see us on video, you can stream us live on X at Fletch and Sammy. You can stream us live on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. We'll get that YouTube chat up and going and read them all coming up in just a little bit. But Sammy, where are we starting for hour 2?
Big news broke in the last hour. Geno Smith, 2-year, $85 million or $75 million extension with the Raiders. Do we think that they're still in on a quarterback at the top of the draft? Shedeur Sanders has really been linked there, or do we think Geno's the guy going forward for Vegas?
I do think that they are going to pick a quarterback in this year's draft. I don't know if it's Shedeur Sanders, but that certainly does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Geno Smith is a perfect stop bridge quarterback. He is the perfect quarterback to get a young guy in and to learn under, because Geno Smith went through it. He was that rookie quarterback that had a ton of expectations on him, and he failed miserably for about 10 years before he finally came back and found that home with Seattle with Pete Carroll. So Geno Smith, I think, is perfect for the Raiders with Pete Carroll as their head coach, to be the leader, to be the guy who's ushering in the new quarterback. And maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 2 years. I think both these quarterbacks need a lot of help at the top of this year's draft class. So I love the fact that they're doing this with Geno.
I think we could see Genty's the heavy favorite to go to the Raiders. He's literally even money in Vegas, so Vegas really thinks they know something there. But I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Milroe, someone who's a little bit of a project, maybe a Jackson Dart, really been linked to Pittsburgh, but maybe not taking a Ward's probably not getting to them, or a Shedeur. But Geno, the Raiders are interesting. Are they going to be good? No. But would I?
Geno's a good quarterback.
No, hold
man.
on.
He puts up stats. He's Jameis.
Would I want to play them when I need playoff seedings in December? No, because Pete Carroll can get you a win. Max Crosby's a hell of a pass rusher, and Geno can ball out. And there's talent on this team. You got Brock Bowers. I mean, there's some talent there. There's a foundation. I think it was smart for an organization that has not been stable for the last 20, 30.
Sneaky playoff pick.
I think the division's too good. You got the Chiefs, The Chargers are going to be good. The Broncos, I think, got really good on defense. I don't think because of the division they're a playoff pick, but I do think that they will beat someone really good at the end of the year and mess things up in the playoff.
I like it. Story number two.
Story number two, Final Four this weekend. Always an exciting time. Florida playing Auburn, Duke playing Houston. What's the best matchup? What's the storyline here? It's odd to me how the odds have shifted, and now it feels like Florida. Auburn was the preseason one all year. It was their team to beat, and it feels like they're plus 550 to win the whole thing, fourth in the tournament.
Look, I think Florida is the best storyline going right now of the Final Four teams that remain. Florida is probably the best storyline. I do think we are on a collision course for Florida and Duke to play in the national championship this year. But man, would I rather it be Houston, Duke, or Houston, Florida, right? Am I confusing myself
Houston,
right
Florida,
now?
yeah.
I would much rather it be Houston, Florida in the national championship than Duke, Florida, but it feels like we're going to Duke, Florida.
Yeah, it's we talked about this last week. People have criticized the tournament for not having the Cinderella story. I can't wait to get the ratings of this because, yes, you don't have a team like we're talking about with the Dodgers. There's kind of going to be a communal thing that when your team's out in the postseason, people are going to be rooting against the Dodgers. There's not really that Cinderella team. I think that people outside of maybe people hate watching Duke because Duke is so famous and people don't like Duke unless you're a Duke fan.
I like the way Houston plays, man.
I think it's going to be an exciting Final Four. Both games should be really good. I think Houston's being a little disrespected. They've kind of been the most disrespected one seed. No one really gave them a shot. Tennessee was a popular pick to come out of that region, but you got some good stories. You got who's the dude for Florida? Clayton, who was
Walter Clayton Jr. Yeah.
Iona. I mean, you got some guys. Janai Broom played at a small school, so it's kind of cool seeing the small school guys.
I'm excited to watch, man. I don't love how we got here, but I think that these are four fun teams to watch play basketball. Cooper Flagg, for as much as I can't stand Duke, he's sensational.
I just hope Duke gets beat, or at least these games they don't run through them.
Yeah,
that would be disappointing.
If we get two close games, I'm happy no matter what.
We've seen the last 2 years, UConn kind of have that same thing, especially last year. We don't want tournaments where it's just like that.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are 15-ish minutes away from Alan Sliwa joining the show. We have a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. You're going to call and win those coming up in 8 minutes. Stay here at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening to the Fletch Zone. Download the Prize Picks app today. It's free. Get it onto your phone, and you can start setting lineups in as quick as about 15 minutes. Downloading the app and signing up for an account with promo code Fletch takes you about a minute and a half, and then you want to do some research, right? Because you want to build the best lineup possible for the chance for you to win the most money possible. If you got the skills, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash on Prize Picks. Download it today. Use promo code Fletch. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. And an entry is just 2 to 6 players, right? Of playing sports today or tomorrow or anytime this week. 2 to 6 players. You pick their stat projections, more than or less than. If it's baseball, more than 1.5 hits for like a Fernando Tatis Jr., even though they aren't playing today. If it's hockey, more than 1.5 shots on goal for a hockey player. Download the app today. Start crafting these lineups. Make the sports you're already watching a little bit more fun. And a huge shout out to Prize Picks. I got to meet a few of their up top people over the last couple of weeks. Justin is awesome with Prize Picks. They have so much fun running this company, and I have so much fun playing with their app. It really is the best daily fantasy sports app I've ever played. Download it today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry, and you can start to run your game all season long on Prize Picks. San Diego Sports 760. It is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. We got about 40 minutes left on the show, and you can win a pair of tickets to go to the Outlaw Music Festival featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy String, Sierra Hull at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, May 15th out in Chula Vista. Tickets and info, visit Ticketmaster.com. I'll tell you, if you are listening for the next 6 minutes, you got a shot to win those tickets. Hey, a few storylines I wanted to hit real quick. First of all, there's a trailer for the new Naked Gun movie. I would say this is one that we should never touch. It was perfect how it was. The Police Squad TV show, the Naked Gun movie. Hell, it was the last time like O.J. Simpson was cool. But if you would like to see it, it's on my Twitter account at Fletch Sports. The new trailer, Seth MacFarlane, Liam Neeson. It looks like it's going to be hilarious. So do I. By the way,
I said you're really excited for this movie.
I really am. It's one of my dad's favorite flicks of all time. He was showing me and my brother those movies and TV show when we were like 6 years old. But they addressed the OJ thing in the trailer, which is hysterical. So go check it out. It's on my Twitter account at Fletch Sports. Also, Sammy's recommendation. I watched the first 3 episodes, The Studio on Apple TV. Fantastic.
You're ahead of me. I got to watch the third one.
It's hilarious, dude. The third one, he gets in a literal fight with Ron Howard, the director.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a really good. One of our listeners recommended it. It's phenomenal.
I'm loving it so far, man. The pacing, every episode is quick. They do something really creative in the second episode. I won't do the spoilers, but it's Seth Rogen's new project, and it's funny as hell. But it also, I think, is kind of giving you a backstreets look of what happens in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's cool because like Entourage was the first to do that, and they talked about how there never been a show about Hollywood, about trying to make it in Hollywood, and it's like cool behind the scenes, and now you're seeing from a studio head. Apple TV is cranking them out. They're quickly going up the list in best streaming service.
They got all of them. Like Gary Oldman, I guess his
Slow
show
Horses
is supposed to be amazing. I've never seen it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I should really give it some more love. But Severance, maybe the best show of the year. So Apple TV is starting to cook. Friday, Ice Cube coming back. Ice Cube is going to write and direct and star in the new Friday movie. It's going to be called The Last Friday or The Final Friday. I can't remember which.
We need Mike Epps. We need Chris Tucker. We need everyone back.
Bring them all back, baby. Damn. All right. And finally, did you see this Buddy Hield story? Buddy Hield and John Morant, I think. Both of them have been put on notice now by the NBA because of finger guns. So the NFL outlawed this year. You were going to get flagged. You were going to get fined if you did a finger gun celebration, Pew, 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 pew. So John Morant and Buddy Hield have now both been warned over doing it after making shots. And the John Morant one, I get, by the way, he's had his trouble with firearms. But where's everyone at on this? Like, are we really not cool with using finger guns as a celebration anymore? I think it's kind of lame.
Well, I think because of the connotations.
I get it.
There's a lot of, obviously terrible things happen in society with that. But some of them, my thing on celebrations is this.
But Sam, if I give you finger guns, I'm saying you're a cool guy. I'm not saying I want to kill you.
Yeah, but John Morant, put it Yeah,
well, we don't need to get into it. Everyone knows what John Morant's doing.
No, but I think the thing is interesting with celebrations because especially in the NFL, celebrations have become a thing. Like kids wanted to. I mean, look at the Gritty. The Gritty became a thing that was like a national dance, whether you were a sports fan or not. We don't need you to hit the Gritty. No one asked for that.
I feel like I could do it pretty well, though.
I would love to see that. They it's kind of become a thing that people they've gone crazy viral, but the NFL certainly has taken them away, and the NBA is tight on it. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised that this is becoming a thing right before the playoffs. I think they're trying to crack down on it, so when the audience really gets big, it's not happening.
Should start doing bow and arrows instead. Maybe that'll work better. And then Jackson Merrill obviously signed the new contract yesterday. He also hit a home run yesterday. So after his first at bat, we were all like, dude, waste of money. You shouldn't have paid him. And then he hits the home run, and you're like, all right, I guess that's fine. But his contract details. So it's $135 million over 9 years. And you look at that on the out front, you're like, he did not get paid enough money. And that's true. But most likely it's actually going to be a $165 million deal. And here's how that all shakes out. So he's doing $10 million signing bonus, $1 million this year, $3 million in each of the next 3 seasons. So that's kind of spread out over the first 4 years of this contract. The contract officially will begin next year. Guaranteed salaries of $1 million in 2026, 6 in 2027, 8 in 28, 10 in 29, $20 million a year from 2030 to 2034. And then there's the club option / player option in 2034 that would carry a base salary of $21 million. So if Jackson Merrill does what we think he's going to do over the next 9 years, then the Padres will absolutely exercise that option for $21 million, or Jackson Merrill makes a stink about it and this contract gets ripped up in 2 years. Here's where the numbers kind of get a little funky. This is when the MVP stuff comes into account. So the option year will jump up to $30 million instead of $21 million if Merrill finishes in the top 5 in MVP voting in any one of these contract 9 years. Sammy, what would you put the odds that Jackson Merrill has in a top 5 MVP season over the next 9 years?
I think that's a very real odds. I mean, he's probably outside of Paul Skeens, he's the best rookie hitter, or well, not rookie now, but best young hitters in baseball. I think that's very feasible. That was smart.
He was top 9 last year.
Yeah, so I don't know why at age 21 or 20 he's top 9. He can't be top 5. I think that's certainly plausible, especially going up against the Dodgers a lot. Padres-Dodgers rivalry is becoming a big thing, and there's obviously a lot of eyeballs on the Dodgers. I think it's smart for Merrill to put that kind of escalation in there. I would not be surprised though if in the 4 years, because hey, after how many years now? To be fair to Bogaerts, he's been playing better this year. He's had some moments, so I'm not gonna rip Bogaerts to shreds.
Go ahead, it's a bad contract.
I'm not saying that. Of course, it's a bad contract. We all know that. But 4 years from now, is there a way that you're trying to get out of that thing and bump Merrill up? Because if it came down to keeping Jackson Merrill or Bogaerts or hell even Machado, you're keeping Merrill. Merrill's the young superstar.
100%.
There's no way you're letting him go. I wouldn't be surprised. It's interesting that Scott Boras made a big deal about this today. Because now we all know from an agent's perspective, this is terrible because he's looking out for his own clients getting extensions. And this was obviously a very team friendly contract. Didn't get everything he wanted. Juan Soto's contract with the Mets is a dream for agents because they hope their hitters get to that level.
Scott Boras has wished the words team friendly were wiped from the earth.
Yeah, he doesn't want that at all. It's cool to see Jackson Merrill obviously balling out, and the Padres just so far, it's fascinating me how good the pitching staff has been. I mean, Dylan Cease's off-speed pitches last night were amazing. He was just kind of like owning it. We get to see Vasquez again tomorrow. The back end, it's going to be. I hope the back end of the rotation is as successful as they were the first week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, that's a dream if they do that all season long, healthy and effective. Jackson Merrill can also earn $1 million extra every single year from 2030 to 34. For each year he reaches 500 plate appearances, that's nothing. His agents were banking on that. He can also earn an additional $1 million from 2030 to 2034 for every year he finishes in the top 10 of MVP voting. So all that adds up to around $204 million for what we see as a $135 million contract. Even if he gets to 204, probably still criminally underpaid when it comes to the world of Major League Baseball. But I thought our text line brought up a really good point. Jackson Merrill's 21 years old. His parents are both teachers. Jackson Merrill now has $150 million and a home worth more than chasing dollars. And Jackson Merrill said it during his press conference. He was like, it was more important to me to stay in San Diego because AJ Preller is the one who found me. AJ Preller and the Padres were the first Major League Baseball team to scout him. They drafted him. They've developed him. And it's pretty nice that for once we have a Padres player here in San Diego that the Padres have drafted, developed, made a superstar, and signed to a long-term extension.
I can't believe
name one other one.
Signed that. I'm just still beyond like it's amazing for San Diego and all of us.
The Padres tried to get this done twice already with Jackson Merrill.
I can't believe that his agent would let his agent's done, by the way.
His agent he stopped him twice already from signing with the Padres. This was attempt number 3 for the Padres to sign.
Right, that's what's odd to me. If you stopped him twice already,
I think Jackson Merrill
you couldn't have got this number a year ago.
I think Merrill really wanted to be here. I think that's accurate. If you listen to him, he's 22 years old. He doesn't know how to lie that good yet. Right? Manny Machado, pretty good liar, I would assume, at this point in his career. Jackson Merrill's young, man. I think what he's saying is from his heart. I think he wanted to be here. I think he loves the culture that's been developed by Mike Schilt. And I think he was fine taking less money to be locked in long term.
Can I throw out a conspiracy theory for you?
Please do.
And I'm not really a conspiracy theory guy, but I think that this could be interesting.
I love conspiracy theories. Where are the Jones? They were here. Where are they?
John Seidler.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, big legal battle. Schill Seidler going on, kind of flying under the radar right now because the Padres are tearing it up and probably the second best team in baseball right now. Do you think this is kind of a handshake, wink, wink deal of, hey, we're going to sign you to a team-friendly contract. Everyone's going to love me. They're not going to want to switch it to Schill Seidler again. And then 4 years from now, when Schill Seidler's not really part of the picture, we're gonna rip this thing up and give you a brand new deal. I'm just saying.
I think John Seidler just saw that he locked in a potential top 5 MVP candidate for the next 10 years for $135 million. He's screaming for joy right now. I think Jackson wanted to be here.
But think of the PR scope of John Seidler from a month ago to now.
He's the most beloved man in all of San Diego. 949 text in, guys, I just don't get it. I don't think of Liam Neeson as a funny, goofy guy. He's a serious action actor like in Taken. I can't see him in a funny role at all. Am I the only one that thinks this? Liam Neeson is effing hilarious. Watch 1,000 Ways to Die in the West. Anything he does with Seth MacFarlane is comedy gold, which is what the new Taken movie will be. All right, quick break. When we come back, Alan Sliwa, host of Hoops Talk on YouTube, Lakers expert. He's going to be joining the show to preview Lakers Warriors coming up tonight at San Diego Sports 760.
This sport is sponsored by the Jim Buttrell Real Estate Team, the Warriors and Lakers in the game of the night in the NBA. You can hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The Lakers are currently favored by 1.5 with the point total set at 229.5. That game will tip at 7. The Lakers are currently 3-0 on the season series against Golden State. And the Raiders and quarterback Geno Smith have reached a $75 million extension after the trade came over from the Seahawks. And the Cowboys have traded for Pat's backup quarterback, Joe Milton. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Buttrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you until 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Let's check in with Alan Sliwa. He is the host of Hoops Talk on YouTube. You can subscribe to them there. He's also talking some baseball, talking about everything this time of year. Alan, you got a busy day coming up. How we doing?
Doing good, brother. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we love having you on, man. So Lakers Warriors tonight, one of the biggest games of the regular season to this point. Steph coming off a 52-point performance. Do the Lakers have what it takes to stop him and Jimmy Butler tonight?
You know, it's interesting. Since they got Luka, you kind of trying to work blindly on some of the matchups that the Lakers have. So the first time they went at Denver was the first time you were going to see Luka and LeBron together going up against Jokic and Murray. The first time earlier this week, or it was last week on Saturday, Memphis with Ja Morant. Monday against the Houston Rockets. And then tonight against the Golden State Warriors. All these games are so unique. Nobody's got any data on them. I know the Warriors have been phenomenal since Jimmy Butler got traded to Golden State, but it's a good game. I really actually think this is going to be a phenomenal matchup. I think both teams are desperate for a win. There's still so much that's in play standings-wise, so I think you'll get both teams' best shot, and I think either team can come out, obviously, with a W in this one.
Alan, do you think Golden State or the Lakers, even though they wouldn't be the favorite against Golden State, the fact that their number twos are better than Jalen Williams, the number 2 for Oklahoma City, do you think both teams have a real shot to take them down in the West?
You know, I'm going to give OKC. I think my respect for them keeps growing, and I think they're the favorites coming out of the Western Conference. I'm going to take away the whole experience thing, and maybe they don't have enough experience. They are literally doing things statistically that makes their regular season as good as any regular season that we've ever seen before. They are so far so far beyond everybody else in the Western Conference, and we're talking about, you know, obviously a West that's got a lot of really good teams. Do I think the Lakers or the Warriors can beat OKC in a 7-game set? I think it can happen. I don't think it's as likely to happen, and I'm going to try to give OKC, I think, the credit they deserve.
Yeah, their average point differential, highest in the league by far at plus 13.4. They have a 64-12 record on the season so far, which is just stupid. But you look at the West, Allen, and OKC is walking away with the 1 seed. They already got it. That's going away. But the Rockets, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, all still pretty bunched up. How much movement do you think we see in the seeding in the West before playoff time starts in a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think a ton. I mean, I saw something today. The number 3 seed to the number 8 seed are 2.5 games apart. So Memphis just a week ago, we were talking about them in a 4-5 matchup potentially with the Lakers. Now they're in number 8. And every single night, teams are beating up on each other. I mean, I saw the Warriors got the Lakers tonight, and then they follow that up with a game against the Denver Nuggets tomorrow. The Lakers, after they're done tonight with Golden State, they got 1 game against the Pelicans and then 2 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Still got another one against Houston. I think the point I'm trying to make is to try to predict any of what happens between now and the end of the regular season is incredibly impossible. And maybe the Lakers got Golden State in the first round. Maybe they got Denver. Maybe they got the Clippers. There's just still so many scenarios that could play out.
Alan, you touched on how the Lakers are kind of playing every team for the first time with Luka and how it's changed since AD. And one of the big worries heading into with the trade was that the Lakers wouldn't be able to match up with the big teams, but they just beat the Rockets, who are number 1 in rebounding, in Memphis with Jaren Jackson Jr. and have played the Nuggets pretty well with Jokic. How do you think the size factor plays into in the playoffs at all?
Well, I think at some point, I mean, listen, there's a reason why Rob Pelinka was trying to trade for Mark Williams. Obviously, he thought they don't have enough size. Lakers are going to get some type of an update. It sounds like on Maxi Kleba. Not that not to say that he would be back in the first round or something like that. But I know that he was going to get evaluated in 8 weeks, and supposedly JJ Redick's going to address that tonight. I think they have been wildly successful with the size that they don't have. But the good thing is they got big guys. They got big bodies. They got guys that like playing rough and physical and can play multiple positions. But I think, naturally, I think it can come back and haunt them, and it probably will at some point. But that's been the piece, I think, of the Luka trade that's been most surprising. Their defense still has been good. The Warriors, you'll see tonight, the biggest player they're going to have in that starting lineup is Jimmy Butler. So it's not like you have to have size, but I think having size will be something they address in the offseason. And I do think it probably has a ceiling once you get to the playoffs.
Alan Sliwa, host of Hoops Talk on YouTube. You can give him a subscribe there. Let's talk about that other team in LA, because outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the hottest team in the West right now is the Los Angeles Clippers. 8-2 over their last 10. They've won a couple straight games here. Do they have what it takes? They're involved in that 2 or 3 through 8 that you were talking about, who were all bunched within about 2.5 games. Do the Clippers have what it takes to actually make some noise in the West? Is that going to finally happen for Ballmer?
I got to be honest. Clippers are a weird team to me. I got a chance. They played the Lakers, I want to say 3 times within maybe 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And the Lakers handled business against them. I don't know exactly. I think, by the way, I will say Norman Powell wasn't playing in a couple of those games. He's been a key player for them this year. But Lakers weren't also 100% healthy as well. It's impressive what they've done, but I got to be honest. I guess I would be surprised if they matched up against the Lakers in the first round or Denver in the first round. I'm going the other way. I'm taking one of the other teams. I'd be surprised if they made real noise in the playoffs.
Who do you think is under more pressure this year, considering the age of LeBron and Curry, between the Warriors and the Lakers to win a title?
That's a good question. I think more pressure to win a title. I don't know if win a title. I think it's more, if those two teams played each other, which they can very well play each other in the first round, more pressure on which franchise. I think the Warriors are in an interesting window where this is it for them, right? Like, this is it. I mean, whatever these next couple of years are going to look like, it's probably going to be this year and next year is their window to try to win. The LeBron window, of course, will close, and I know he's 40 and he's doing what he's doing. Maybe a little more pressure on the Warriors, just because you know what life looks like when LeBron is gone with the Lakers. You don't really know what life looks like for the Warriors once Curry's gone.
That's a really good point. Alan Sliwa, host of Hoops Talk. You find it on YouTube. Give him a subscribe there. Now, Alan, we'll step away from the NBA for a second. You cover the Lakers. You do a hell of a job doing it. You're also a Padres fan. I remember doing a Padres broadcast with you from, I believe, Novo, Brazil, out in Otay Ranch area, ahead of a Padres postseason game. But Alan, Jackson Merrill signed next 9 years, $135 million. Feels like a ridiculously team-friendly deal. You pumped about that?
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And I think, for this organization, obviously getting off to the start that they have, and that piece is it's a great storyline. I know for me, my expectations this year, just stay in the mix, try to grab one of those wild card spots again, or just get one of those playoff spots again, and anything can happen in the postseason. Give Preller a ton of credit. 3 of the last 5 years, the Padres have been in the playoffs. But this one on Jackson Merrill, you're locking up a dude that can really be the face of your franchise for a long time, and he's going to be. And I think one of the unique things about Jackson Merrill's contract, and for the Padres, they got some contracts that I think they're already tough to swallow, and certainly there's some contracts there that over the next few years are going to be tougher to swallow. This is not one that you're going to look at and say, what were the Padres doing? I'm excited about Jackson Merrill. San Diego loves Jackson Merrill, and to have him be a part of the franchise for a number of years, and at that price point for Jackson Merrill, you kind of take away any risk and say to yourself, all right, let me lock up wealth for generations. But at the same time, from the Padres, if you go see what some of these contracts cost, that is a fantastic value contract and hopefully a superstar that only grows.
Yeah, I mean, there's people around baseball saying he might have left $400 million on the table if he would have waited for arbitration to sign his first contract. It seems crazy team friendly for the Padres. Before we let you go, Alan, you got a final score prediction for tonight? Warriors, Lakers battle it out in the West?
I'm going to go a very close game, grind it out. Both teams desperate for a W. Let's give Lakers the slight edge, but to be honest, I even have some hesitation saying that. I think you're going to get probably one of the best versions of the Golden State Warriors tonight. They're going to be also trying to send a message, but I give Lakers I give them the slight edge because they're at home and they got the second best record at home in the Western Conference.
There you go, Alan Sliwa. Slight edge to the Lakers. Alan, appreciate your time as always, pal.
Thank you, fellas.
All right. Follow him on YouTube at Hoops Talk. You can get him there. Just type Alan Sliwa Hoops Talk. You will find it. You give him a subscribe there. He's doing post-game reactions for Lakers all the time and keeping you up to date with everything going around basketball. Sammy and I will close this thing out. Coming up next, it is San Diego Sports 760. We will do a little recap of long shots, set your fantasy lineups for tonight, and get you ready for John and Jim. Coming up next, it's San Diego Sports 760. For one final time today, it is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim, I could see them getting ready, man. They are doing their hair. They're getting all purty, getting in their makeup room.
Jim doesn't have hair to
That's
do.
a great point, Sammy. Thank you for reminding me. John and Jim are coming up in about 10 minutes. You'll hear from them, and I'm sure they got plenty of thoughts coming up on the remnants of the discussion about Jackson Merrill, who signed the big contract. That's been the news of the day here in San Diego. I wanted to make this point a little bit earlier. We were talking about the Xander Bogaerts contract because he is like one of the highest paid Padres right now. And that is a bad contract. And we're going to look back and say, why the hell did they do this? I was at Petco Park 2 nights ago now. And when I was walking through the concourse on the second level, they got a bunch of different spots where there's murals and there's different things all around. The big three for the Padres, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Xander Bogaerts isn't on there. The guys they plan on being there a long time are on there. It's Fernando, it's Manny, it's Jackson Merrill. So for whatever we think about the Xander Bogaerts contract, just remember there are creative ways sometimes to get out of those contracts. And you might end up still paying them for a while, like the Padres are still paying Eric Hosmer right now. But there is a chance to get out of that in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a drag that the Bogaerts contract is so bad because of the length.
Yeah, the wish is that he would have been on one of those murals, right? The wish
That's
is
what they
that
signed him to be.
he would have been awesome and a great leader, and
He was
still
projecting
could be.
that way when he was in Boston. But
We'll see if there's a World Series that comes to San Diego. Maybe Xander Bogaerts is a big part of it, but right now it is kind of tough to look past.
747 says if Jackson Merrill held out for the next 2 years and went into his last rookie contract, do you think that would have been the first sports player to sign $1 billion contract? Probably 13 to 15 years.
Things would have had to go
No.
very, 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 very right for Jackson Merrill to do that. We got an interesting text here from the 858 too. Does the MLBPA have to sign off on the Jackson deal? This has to be a backroom deal with additional promises. We criticize football players for holding out a year. We say that's $20 to $40 million you'll never get back. Merrill left potentially $400 million he'll never get back. How can the Players Association allow this without proper representation?
That's very interesting.
I mean, they're not happy about it. I promise you that.
Well, and it's not like you're in Miami where the taxes you're going to get most of that contract. Half of this is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, half of the 135 is not there. It's not like he deferred the money where you get it where you want to take it when you're done. This is interesting. I agree with this. I think the Padres have some backdoor deal. I think it is agreed upon handshake deal. We're going to pay you now. We're going to extend you. We're going to take care of you. But 3 to 4 years from now, you keep on ripping this thing up and get rid of Bogaerts. Because there's I'm sorry. Even if you are the most I'm for the team possible, he could have been for the team and still got another $200 million.
Do the Padres strike you as somebody or a team that would say, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money on some other direction? No, the Padres are in the business of saving money right now.
But there has to be something, because there's no way, even if Jackson Merrill says, I want to sign this deal, there is no way his representation to this point, the MLB Players Association, which is always about the players, which is, by the way, a lot of people forget. People want to blame the Dodgers. People want to blame stuff why they're deferring money. This is the MLB Players Association why there's no salary cap in baseball, because you want the guaranteed deals.
For sure.
You want the big, which is great for the players. It does suck there's not a salary cap because it takes some of the competition out. But
so the other way to think about it is Jackson Merrill is still going to have the ability to sign a massive contract. He's going to be done with this contract by the time he's 31. Baseball players' prime is like 29 to 33. Jackson Merrill is going to be fine financially.
I'm curious what'll happen because his star is rising so fast. If 2 years from now, he's one of the best players in baseball, if he says, I need a new deal.
That's a very real possibility.
And it would be fair to Jackson. But that's the thing is, like, he left $400 million.
Maybe we don't know that. Like, that's a projection. That would be if he went to arbitration, if he doesn't get injured, if, like, all of these ifs, and ifs. But he's 21 years old, just signed a contract for potentially $204 million.
The age is why he could get that money. The fact that he's this young and he's this good, if all signs point to where it's going to, if Xander Bogaerts at age 29 is getting that money.
Okay, Sammy, you are Jackson Merrill's age. Imagine that somebody puts $135 million guaranteed in front of you that has the most likely.
I'd say pay me the $500.
The least it's going to be is 165, most likely, if he gets 500 plate appearances every year. The most it's going to be is 204 if he does what we think he's going to do.
Okay, I know, but if you're sitting with your agent and your family and you're saying we're leaving $400 million on the deal on the table,
how much money does one person need, man? The Soto contract.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Okay, Ben, but stop. If you're 22 years old and you're sitting here with a chance to make this is generational money, but that's really generational money. with the taxes, he's probably getting $85 million over 9 years.
Oh, shucks.
That's okay. But when
I mean,
when Xander Bogaerts, his teammate, who is not as good as him, is making over double his salary, almost triple his salary, you don't think at some point he's going to be like, there has to be a backdoor deal? I love this text from the 858 because the MLB Player Association, there's no way they're letting this go through.
Oh, they're pissed about it. And I am playing devil's advocate a little bit here. Like, of course, it's way less than market value. Of course, in 4 years, this could get ripped up. We had another texter earlier today that I thought brought up a really good point, that this is really a contract for his first 4 years of free agency, because Padres could have left him on his rookie deal, gone to arbitration, and still had team control over him for another 5 years. So this is really those last 4 years of this contract, which is, by the way, when the big money kicks in. That's what they're making this deal for.
You talk about the Padres who have had a bad PR hit in the offseason.
You could argue this is actually helping Jackson Merrill out a lot. He's making more over the next. Right.
That's what I'm telling you. They have a handshake deal, because this is not. He's not making this. He's not making $135 million his whole career. He's probably ripping this thing up in 4 years.
Or when he gets to the end of this contract, he's going to sign a $800 million deal, because that's what baseball is going to be.
I highly doubt he's going to wait till 31 to do that.
All right, that's it for us today. John and Jim are coming up next. More Padres talk, more Aztecs talk, more San Diego sports talk right here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll see you tomorrow.